This year, we've been revisiting the Four Foundations of Mindfulness and taking things a little bit more slowly, being a bit more meticulous. And although we're following the stages that are presented within the sutra itself, and I think it's probably quite obvious to everyone that it's pretty difficult to actually do these things authentically, but that's all right. When you start off in preschool learning the ABCs, you don't have any kind of judgment about that. That's something that's essential. I mean, in hindsight, it seems like it's kind of just too easy, but initially it was quite difficult, right? And it's the same with meditation. You've got to work in stages, and you have to keep revisiting the same things over and over again. For people who go forth, or let's say go to Sri Lanka or Burma, enter into a mendicant community, let's say. You don't necessarily have to be a monk, but get into that kind of lifestyle where they're meditating and practicing all day long every day. Then obviously, for most, practice is going to accelerate more quickly, right? There's only so much you can do by, committing an hour or something a day to your own meditation. So really these stages that they follow, then they're following them in a program. They often do retreats. They do 45-day retreats or 3-month retreats. And then regularly within the month, they will also do retreats. In the Tibetan system, when you go into the retreat center, then you're basically thrown straight into, 12 hours meditation a day minimum. In the Zen tradition, it's about 8 hours a day minimum as soon as you enter into that system, right? So there's no need to get despondent or downhearted about your practice. In the future, when you've developed your own experience, then you will look back and see how important it was, the time that you've invested on the basics, and kind of failing, right? Doing it again and again. It's never perfect. But what you don't realize is that incrementally, you're developing your skill. And what you need eventually is a stable practice. And a stable practice is built up like this. People who throw themselves in the deep end, maybe spend a year practicing really intensely and leaving it aside, they never develop a stable practice. It's the persistent ones who do. And working from the ground up. Of course, there's a potential for this lightning realization, the accelerated path of the Vajrayana, but 99% of people aren't able to do that. Out of all the people who try, most fail. So it's much better to do it this way. Set down the foundations, learn the ABCs, go stage by stage. So we got to the point of experiencing mind. And really, these 4 stages now are associated with the absorptions. This is where we talk about actual samadhi. So of course, it's not going to be an easy thing to do. But remember, the practice itself is just being mindful of the breath. And then naturally, as that mindfulness of the breath becomes more stable, the mind itself will begin to settle. So last week got to the point of being aware of the mind itself, where these kind of signs would start to fade. Nimitta and kasina start to fade. Internal experiences of lights or absorption into external phenomena. And then you just begin to rest in the transparent nature of mind. And so with this, then we get to the stage of gladdening the mind. And again, like I say, this is basically associated with an absorption, primarily the first two levels of absorption. So do your best to remain undistracted, remain mindful of the breathing, and every stage is about further letting go, aware of the breath and letting go, without clinging to experience, not seeking after experiences, not trying to push away thoughts. And as this natural letting go takes hold of your meditation, and the body and the mind relax, and the main thing is not to lose your sensitivity. Sensitivity is the awareness of the mindfulness that you have. If you fall into sleep and dullness, you're finished, right? And if you spend all your time worrying about things or having coarse emotional responses, many thoughts in your head, then you're not going to get anywhere. The practice itself is like, okay, the way it is. It's absolutely fine. It's perfect for where you are. And just enjoy that, relax into that, remain mindful, following the breath. And then if absorption does start to develop, you can rejoice. But again, don't cling to it. Just remain passive. Don't start getting excited or thinking, oh no, this is what I was looking for. What happens if it fades away? I never find it again. That's the opposite of the mentality you need. The mentality is everything is perfect the way it is. I'm exactly where I need to be.